Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and we have a bit of an interesting move that was made, again, around the league as the LA Rams have waived running back Darrell Henderson from the team. Kieran Williams is set to return from his injury, so there really wasn't much of a point for Henderson to be on the roster anymore. Essentially, he had done his job filling in for a couple of weeks, but now with Kieran Williams set back to return, they didn't need Henderson anymore. But how does this affect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Well, is Darrell Henderson a running back that the Buccaneers could potentially look to add? He is a guy that I think has some interesting upside as a potential backup running back. Only 26 years old, one-time Super Bowl champ, 5'8", 208 pounds, former Rams third-round draft pick in the 2019 NFL Draft. And what's really interesting for me with Darrell Henderson is that this dude has showcased good ability in the past, right? I think you look in 2020, he had 624 rushing yards, 4.5 yards per attempt. In 2021, he had 688 rushing yards, which was good for, if I can get rid of this, which was good for 4.6 yards per attempt. In 2022, he had 283 yards, which was good for 4 yards per attempt. Things did not necessarily go well filling in 2023. He played and started in 4 games. He had 2.4 yards per attempt. He also had 14 targets. Kind of another important thing to note there is that Darrell Henderson can do a little bit of everything. He showcased good ability as a runner. He's showcased a little bit of ability as a receiving back. What is the most intriguing circumstance for me? Number one, the Bucs have an open spot on their active roster right now. We talked about that in the David Wells video. This is probably going up very shortly after that David Wells video goes up. Could bring him in. They've also got 2 open spots on their practice squad. Could possibly go there, although if he was getting claimed, he would have to go to the active roster. Bucs have an open spot on their active roster. They know the Cardinals probably aren't going to want him because they just got Michael Carter, which is a running back the Bucs were interested in. So I wonder if they would potentially be interested in Darrell Henderson here. He's a West Coast guy, has worked with Sean McVay in the West Coast offense before, much like in the same case as Baker Mayfield and a couple of other guys. John Wolford's a good example of that. David Moore is a good example of that as well. There is definitely an idea of if you know how to work in a West Coast offense, Chase Edmonds is a good example of that. If you know how to be in that type of offense, the Bucs may be interested in you. I could see the Bucs being interested in Darrell Henderson here. I really could. I think that it would be an interesting fit. I think that it would help them out a little bit. I know some people are going to say, but James, the offensive line can't block. It doesn't matter. I understand that. I do. I know the offensive line has still been a bit of a problem, but I also think that you always want to look to upgrade, especially at the overall backup depth of your position groups. The Bucs do want to have some help for Rachaad White. I think Darrell Henderson could be an interesting name. He's got familiarity with this type of offense. He is a guy that I think could come in right away, and you give him a week or two to pick up the offense, and he's a guy that could potentially contribute. And we've seen evidence of him being able to contribute for a good offense in the past in the LA Rams, an offense that the Bucs have already plucked a couple of guys from in Baker Mayfield, in John Wolford, who, by the way, both have experience with Darrell Henderson. It may very well be, Dave Canales can go and say, hey, Baker, hey, John, what do you guys think about Darrell Henderson? Was he a good running back for you guys? Yes, he was a decent running back. We should bring him in as a backup. Sounds good, And obviously Dave Canales would already have interest anyway. He has seen Darrell Henderson multiple times during his tenure with the Seattle Seahawks whenever they would play the LA Rams constantly. So the fit is certainly there. The scheming is certainly there. The story, I guess, or the connections are there. There's a lot of threads connecting Darrell Henderson potentially being a waiver claim for the Bucs. Will they ultimately do it tomorrow? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But I certainly want to see them try and put in a claim, just because it's always good to try and get some good backups and see what you can do. I don't think Darrell Henderson is on an expensive contract at all. He would be a very cheap guy to bring back into the mix. And it just continues to improve the back end of your running back room, which has not been great this year. I know a lot of it's been due to the offensive line, but why not just try and throw some different guys in the mix and see what they can do? And Darrell Henderson is a guy that has shown some good stuff in the past. Even this year, obviously I know 2.4 yards per attempt is not great, but still could be an interesting backup running back in my opinion. What What do you guys think about the possibility of Darrell Henderson being a waiver claim for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear them down in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. And as always, folks, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.